Good afternoon, teachers and fellow educators. Welcome to another installment of Kickstart Your Learning. You are here to learn a new app called Book Creator. And we have some very special guests here with us today. So I'd like to introduce them. First of all, we have Christy Harold, one of our EdTech facilitators.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
And I'm Sarah Smith. I'm one of your hosts. I'm also an EdTech facilitator. We have Courtney George, a librarian from Independence Elementary School.
Hi, everybody.
We have Misty Shea, another EdTech facilitator.
Howdy, howdy.
And by the way, these aren't in any order, so I hate to have Catherine here at the bottom there. Catherine, let's see if I can say this right. Capiello?
You
Did I say it right?
it.
All right.
Yep.
And she's here from Book Creator.
Hi, everyone.
And we have a part of our EdTech team here moderating the chat. So they'll be reaching out to you in the chat window. So as we go along, this training today is from 4:30 to 5:15. And hopefully you are in the right spot, ready to learn Book Creator. I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Christy, who has a couple logistics to do.
Welcome, everyone. Like Sarah said, we are so glad you're here. A couple of things if you've never attended one of our YouTube Live events. Your window should look a little bit like the slide that you see in your screen, where you have a chat window on the right or possibly below the video feed, and then the video feed in the middle. If not, let's do a few housekeeping things and take care of that because we do want to chat with you during the event. That's part of how we take attendance. So if you want to move to the next slide, Sarah. Again, if you don't have that chat window, if you'll click on your profile icon in the top right, and yours might be grayed out with like a picture icon right now. We're working on fixing that in Keller ISD, but if you'll click on where your picture should be and choose Create Channel, and then create channel one more time, it will pop you into a window that looks like the screenshot that you see in front of you. At that point, you can go back up to your URL bar, your Omnibox, and refresh, and you should be back in the Kickstart Your Learning. So again, if you don't see the chat, it's your profile circle, create a channel one more time. During our Kickstart Your Learning event, if you're here for EQ credit, we are so happy to give that to you for your time. We'd like for you to watch the live event, the whole thing. We'd like you to introduce yourself into the chat right now. And then if you'll make a comment or ask a question during the learning, we'd love to know what your questions are, what you're wondering about, what you like, any of those things. And that's really important today because we have prizes. And then at the end of our event, we'll give you a link that you can fill out a form for your EQ credit. And if you weren't aware, we store all of our past Kickstart Your Learning events on our YouTube channel, and you use the same link that you used today to get to this event to get to the channel of all of our past events.
Thank you, Christy. Next up, I want to give you our agenda because you don't want to leave early. You don't want to miss any of this. We are going to have Catherine here with Book Creator. You got to meet her a second ago. She's going to go over the basics. How do you get into Book Creator? This is an amazing app. You can use it pre-K to 12th, all grade levels, all content areas, and we have it free through the end of December. So we need to use it and we need to check it out. And I just think you're going to love it. Then we have Courtney from Independence, and that's our teacher spotlight. She has some actual books she's going to share with us and just some of her experience with her students. I think that's going to be super beneficial to hear that. And then we're going to go back to Catherine for a deeper dive into Book Creator, some of those questions that you might have. She's going to try to answer those. And then of course you don't want to leave because we have some prizes. So make sure you're answering questions, commenting in the chat window. And I would like to go ahead and turn it over to Catherine.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Go ahead and do this. And you can see it, right? Perfect. All right. So just a little quick thing. Again, my name is Catherine Capiello. I'm one of the teacher success managers here at Book Creator. I'm located out in Chicago. As you can see, I'm wearing a big sweater since it's nice and cold here. Now that it's fall, not looking forward to winter. I'm a former educator myself. I've taught kinder, 3rd, 4th, 9th, and 10th before transitioning over and working for Book Creator. I always throw my dog on here too, just because if you hear a random squeaking toy or a bark in the background, I apologize. It's just what happens when you're working from home, which I'm sure you all understand anyways. So really excited to get everyone started today. We already kind of went over our agenda, so we're just going to hop right in. What you're going to do to get started is you're going to go to app.bookcreator.com, and we're going to throw that in the chat so that you have access to that. You can just copy and paste that and hop right over to app.bookcreator.com. I'm going to go to this as well, and let me log out and log back in so we're all on the same exact screen. But just like we were talking about earlier, that you have premium access through the end of December. So you're going to want to take advantage of this. This is the site that you're going to log in, and also your students are going to log in at this site as well. The free version, normally you have access to 40 books and 1 library, but since you have the premium version right now, you have access to 1,000 books and unlimited libraries in addition to premium features that I'm going to show you today. So take advantage of it through the end of December. You're going to notice first when you go to sign in, it's going to be the student sign in first. Make sure you click to the right where it says teacher sign in. We do get a lot of teachers that sign in as students, believe it or not. So make sure you click on that teacher sign in button first. When you click on teacher sign in, you're going to want to sign in with whatever is associated with your school site. So if you use Google, sign in with Google, so forth, okay? What happens when your students sign in, you're going to give them app.bookcreator.com as well. Then they're going to use their single sign-on. When they use their single sign-on, they're going to be prompted with an invite code that's going to say, what is your teacher's library code? There's no student rostering with Book Creator. You're just going to give them this code that I'm going to show you where you're going to find that code today. And they're going to type that code in, then hop into your classroom library, okay? There's one other way that students can also join your classroom library, and that's via a QR code. This is great if you're teaching TK, kindergarten, 1st grade, or if you have students that need additional accessibility. I'll show you where you can find those additional QR codes in just a second as well. Let's go ahead and sign in real quick. And it'll take me just a second. While it loads.
I love when we can log in with Google. It makes it so much easier.
Yes, definitely. Sorry, it's just loading. Hopefully you all are logged in by now. If you've never logged in before, it's just going to prompt you to answer a few questions. Just make sure you answer those, and then you'll instantly have that premium access. All right, and then it's going to take you to your teacher dashboard. Your teacher dashboard is going to look similar to mine, but it's not going to have as many libraries if you've never used Book Creator before. You're going to have one library right up here at the left-hand side that has a lock on it. This is your private library where you keep like your favorite books or your top templates that you've created. And then you would have created one other library when you've started, so you would have one over here to the right. You cannot add students to this private library right here. You have to create a new library to add students and to turn on collaboration, which you're going to learn about today. So just remember that the lock sign, you cannot actually add students to that, okay? Real quick before we get started, I just want to take your attention up here to a few tabs. The first tab to the right is called the Discover tab. If you click on that Discover tab, this is a really important tab because it's going to show you a ton of different resources. All of the different resources here, you can scroll through by grade level as well as by subject area. So when you do have some time, in which I mean, we're all teachers, so we don't have time, but when you have a second, I highly recommend browsing through this area so that you can see what students and teachers are making. Then to the right of that, we have our Learn tab. If you are wanting to get some step-by-step instructions about how to do something after this webinar, this is where you're going to want to go. It has all of our different support articles on how to do stuff. So you can scroll through those right there. And then we also have something called a certified author program, which I highly recommend doing as well after you've finished this webinar. Just click on this button right here under the Learn tab that says View the Course. When you click on that blue button, it's going to give you this next tab that says Certification. The Certified Author Program is a self-paced program. It's going to take you through all the basic features that we have. The videos range between 1 minute and 6 minutes, and it's going to help you practice all those features at your own pace. And you're going to be walking alongside John Smith, who's our other teacher success manager. What I also have seen some teachers do, which I recommend, is they actually do this with their class. So it takes 45 minutes to an hour, and they'll do it with their class, so then the students learn how to do all the different features too. So I think that's kind of a really cool, this quick tip to do that if you wanted to do that with your class too. All right, so those are just those other tabs. You're going to notice I have a 5th tab right here. This is the apps tab, and you're not going to have it until January. It is something that's coming out, so stay tuned for that. You will have it once January hits. All right, I'm going to pass it over really quickly to Courtney, because before we get started and dive into all of the different features, I want to just highlight a teacher and actually show you what people are doing with Book Creator, so that you get kind of a feel of what some teachers are doing before we go into the features. So when I show you some of the features, you're able to kind of brainstorm in your mind, how could I use this in my own classroom, after really looking at a spotlight of Courtney, what she's doing in her classroom. So I'm going to pass it over to Courtney. Let me stop sharing real quick.
All right, guys. So I am the librarian at Independence. So I am a K4 campus, and we have been working on, it's Thanksgiving, Halloween. So we've been doing pumpkins. We read with kindergarten and first grade, the poem, 5 Little Pumpkins. We sang the song, and my kinder and first graders created their own little pumpkins that we then taped to a fence outside the library. So after that, my second graders, we read the poem together, and then we decided that they were going to bring the pumpkins that kinder and first created to life in a book in Book Creator. So what I've done is in my library, I added, like Catherine was saying, I shared the code with all of my second graders after a little bit of trial and error getting logged in. Teacher tip, make sure that your kiddos know their login information. That would definitely help with that. But once the second graders got in, they were then able to take a picture first of one of the kinder or first graders' pumpkins. Then we went through and added the microphone feature so that they were able to record a poem of that poem, of the pumpkin. Now, we did not have a lot of kind of pre-teach with this. It was kind of me showing them Book Creator, some of the tools, and then letting them explore. So you're going to notice it is a work in progress, but some of my friends looked at my example and went with it and were fantastic. Other friends spent a lot of time on their backgrounds or their text features, and they haven't completed. So it is a work in progress, but as you can see, as I'm scrolling through our books, the 3 things that I asked them to have were their name, the picture of the pumpkin that they chose, and then a recording of their voice telling the story. So I'm going to scroll through and show you guys, and let you guys see some of their different personalities. So some you see, like Haley, used the pen feature and wrote her name. Some of my other friends added in the little speech bubbles. So this was without me even showing them how to get there. I just basically showed them the plus and then the little I so that they could add these, and I let them explore. As a teacher, I think that's one of the best things we can do, is just let our kids explore a little bit, have fun, play around. So maybe your first time using Book Creator, you just let them make a book about themselves because, I mean, don't they love all talking about themselves anyways? They want to tell us about their dogs and their cats all the time anyways. So I would just let them explore for a little bit first. But here is one example that I wanted to show you so that you could see how easily it integrates their voice. All that we used were our iPads and the microphone feature. And then here's Harper's page.
Once upon a time, there was a rainbow pumpkin. He only came out in summer when the rainbow was out. He had no friends because he was a summer pumpkin. But then the rainbow came out. The leprechaun came out. And then the leprechaun found him and said, "This is my beauty pumpkin. I want to keep him." So then the pumpkin had friends. And then the rainbow, thank God, that he has the most friends he ever wished for. And that was the end of the rainbow pumpkin. The end.
So look at all of the things that they used. So they selected their pumpkin, they told a story, they added in the microphone feature, and now we have the capability to share this with their parents. So I was able to do this with kinder, first, and second grade, a collaborative project where we all work together. Students can create them on their own as well. My second grade, it's starting nonfiction, as I'm sure everybody in Keller is, since we kind of all share the same units of study, but they're starting nonfiction and they're planning on using Book Creator to make their own nonfiction books based on different topics. So I've used Book Creator in the past. I really enjoy it and I hope you guys have fun with it too.
I love that, Courtney. And one of our attendees has said they really love the fact that they can record. And I agree. Very cool.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks so much,
sharing.
Courtney.
Of
Yes.
course.
All right, let me share back my screen and let's hop in and look at some of the features. So all of you should be logged in yourself if you're following along. So I'm going to go back to the libraries tab and I'm going to show you how to create your first library. And then we're going to look at all of those different features that Courtney was going over with. So you know how to use this with your students as well. So on the libraries page, you're just going to scroll down to a button that says, and you can see I've created a ton of different libraries, so I have to scroll down pretty far. But you're going to scroll down to the button that says create a new library. And when you click on that button, create a new library, it's going to ask you to rename that library. So I'm just going to call this maybe class 1. And then you have a bunch of different settings for that library. I'm not going to go through all the settings today because we just don't have enough time, but you can read through these. You can change these settings at any time you want. So just read through them when you get a chance. You can turn them on and or off. The last two right here, we recommend for older students, which it will say that once you turn them on as well. Then you'll create your library. Once you create your library, you're going to want to click into that library. Now, to change any of those library settings at any time, at the top right-hand side, there's a little settings icon. You can click on that settings icon, and that's where you can change those settings or rename your library. Once you're in the library, you're going to need to invite your students so that they can start creating books. And we did discuss that there were 2 ways to do that, the invite code or the QR codes. Right at the top of your library, it says show invite code for others to join. You're just going to click on that invite code, and this is the code that you're going to share with your students. I really highly recommend expiring the code once everyone has joined the library so that no one random is joining your library. The second way is through the QR code. If you click on your little icon at the top right-hand side, then click on student logins right here. You can also have students log in through the QR codes or through login links. So those are the 2 ways that you can do that. Just note that they can't do both. So don't have students sign in with a single sign-on as well as a QR code. It's going to duplicate the student and they're not going to be able to access the books on both accounts. So just pick one or the other. Then once they're in the library, they can start making books. And they get really excited when they see this new book button. So you might want to set some parameters around using that new book button before you get started. So when you click on the new book button, there are 3 types of books that students can create. The first type of book right up here is going to be just a plain blank book with basic features. The second book down here is going to be our comic feature book. So it just has all of the basic features here with additional comic features. One quick tip, I always or I use, and I would have students use the bottom one, so that if students using both of these, they always are asking, how does so-and-so have that feature? So if you have them always picking the one at the bottom, then they have additional text features and fonts and so forth. So you might want to just have them pick the bottom one. Then the third type of book are these amazing, which I absolutely love, templates. So when you're looking at these templates, some of my favorites, and as I go through here, I really want you to think how specifically you could use these templates. And I'd love to hear your answer in the chat. So if you have a second to answer in the chat, how would you see yourself using these templates in your classroom too? Some of my favorites, this first one right here is a newspaper. I love this for current events. The textbook one is great for nonfiction. So if you're doing those nonfiction text features, students are learning about that, or doing a report, things like that. This textbook is great for that. The magazine is wonderful for like a monthly newsletter for a teacher. The fiction book is great for fiction novels for like an upper grade, secondary. And then down here we have the antique book as well as the mono book have timelines in them. So if you need to do a timeline with students for social studies, there's a timeline already ready to go to complete. And then another favorite I have is this fantasy template. The fantasy template is fantastic for like a fantasy unit, writing unit. And then these other ones as well, these other themes are great for different projects and things like that, presentations and things like that. So when you get a chance, check out these templates. I highly recommend looking at them. You can also take these templates and scaffold them for your students. So if you're looking at some of these and thinking this is actually pretty advanced for some of my students, don't worry, you can scaffold it for your students and then share it out to them as well.
Okay, they were being a little shy, Catherine, but Heidi has said she would use the photo book. Yeah. So going back to the blank books, you would just tell your students, choose one of the bottom ones because there's more features with the comic options. Yeah. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. We love features, added features.
Exactly. All right. I'm just going to show you some of the features now. So I just selected one of the comic books to show you. If you want to select one of the books, you can play around with me as I go through this as well. What you're going to want to look at are the 3 buttons at the top right-hand side. And Courtney kind of described a few of them while she was going through her book. The first button is the plus button, and this is anything that you want to add to your page. The second button is the inspector button, or sometimes I would call it the important button. And this button just has you change the background to your page or change anything that you've added to your page. And then you have the play button, which just has you read your book to see what it looks like before publishing your book. Okay, so the first thing I want to do here is I want to change the background to my page. So I'm going to click on that inspector sign, and you have all these different colors, paper options, borders, patterns, and textures to choose from. I'm just going to click one of my recent ones, which I love using, and this is this watercolor paper. So I'm just going to choose this one. Then under the plus sign, I have different categories to add into my page. I can add media to my page. I can add comic features to my page down here, and I can add shapes to my page. You're going to notice I have something called apps on here, which I did discuss earlier. Remember, apps are coming in January. I have it on here, but you're not going to have it till January. So get ready for those. Under media, the first thing I can do is import stuff onto my page. If I click on import, different things I can import to onto my page. First thing are images. This is the Pixabay Safe Search. They are copyrighted images that you can reuse, you can edit. You're going to see that there's an attribution on each image that the students can add to the page. So just know that they are safe and filtered images for students. You're also going to notice that there's a little microphone. Everywhere you see this microphone, students can do speech to text. So it's great for the younger ones. I'm just going to search maybe dog here to add to my page because I love dogs, obviously. Search here, and I always add this little French bulldog. And you're going to notice here is where that image is from. And I'm going to add that image to my page. And you're probably thinking, well, how do I take where that image is from? I just click on that important inspector sign, and I'm going to see a link that says add attribution to page. I just click on that add attribution to page, and there I have it on my page. I never really like what it looks like at first, so if I click the inspector button again, I can take away the background and redo the font if I want and stuff like that, and it just makes it look better. So there's the image. The next thing I want to do on my page is add text. So if I look under media, I'm going to see a text option right here. If I add the text right here, you'll notice I have all these different comic texts I can add, and then I have a plain text I can add. I'm going to click on this plain text to add, and I'm going to start typing my text. So I'm going to say the dog was very comfy. I can bold, italicize, underline, or hyperlink. And then I also can do speech to text right here. This speech to text right here, I can do in over 120 different languages. So if they click on this microphone, then they select the language, it will go onto the page once they start speaking that language in that specific language. I'm going to add this to my page. And then add this to my page. And my text looks pretty boring, so I want to change it. So I'm going to click on that inspector sign again. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to change the font because whenever I want to change something, I go to that inspector sign. And now I have my page. Now I want to do what Courtney did, and I want to record my voice reading this page for fluency. So I'm going to click on that plus sign again. And under media, I see a button that says record. You can see how simple this is for students, that they can just click on that plus button and then click on, they see this little microphone and they click on that record. They know I can record my voice. So click on record and click start recording. And now I can record my voice for fluency, for reading directions for students, for just them reflecting on their own learning. So many different reasons why you might want to record your voice. It's recording. And I want you to start thinking how you would maybe use recording in your classroom as well. And we'd love to hear you in the chat. The other thing that you can add under import is you can add maps. So if you click on maps, you can search for a place, or you can just zoom in on a place in the world and you can add that to your page as well. You can add files. You can add something from your Google Drive, or you can also embed things from YouTube, Flipgrid, Google Forms, Google Slides, really anything that you're thinking of with an embed code, you can embed directly into Book Creator. Even Book Creator books, you can embed directly into Book Creator. So know those options are under that import button as well. The next favorite one I have is the camera. So I'm going to click on camera right here. And just like you're thinking about how you would use that record button, think about how you would use the record video button right here. So they can take pictures, which is great for taking pictures of their work. You notice that in Courtney's book, they took pictures of those pumpkins. So many things that they can do. They can take their selfies, but they also can record video directly in Book Creator. So I'm just going to record really quick, do a quick video, and then I'm just going to stop video and use this video real quick. I'm going to show you that we can do captions on the video. So I want you just to think about that, and we'd love to hear your comments. If I want to add captions, I just click that inspector sign, and then there's a button that says add captions, and I can add captions to my video. whatever language I was speaking in, I can generate those captions automatically. And then those are going to generate in the background. I don't know, did we have any answers to any of those questions?
Yes, I was going to pop in. Magdalene said she would love to use audio for practicing speaking Spanish. Heidi says she loves the recording feature. She's thinking about a position word book that the kids can take pictures and then record what is happening with the positions.
Awesome.
And then Rachel, I think the audio and video is helpful to include those lower students that struggle with reading long messages. And then, of course, we have Misty saying she thinks it's a game changer for the older kids, so the upper grades. So lots of love for the audio.
Definitely. Great ideas. And then the last thing under media is our pen tool. So the pen tool is one of my favorite parts of the pen tool. They can change the color and they have all these different fun magic inks down here. So you can change to magic ink. They have the paintbrush, all of these different, I love the highlighter for annotating over text. So they have that highlighter option. Then you could like screenshot text, put it into Book Creator, have them annotate, then have them record their voice explaining. You can do so many different things with it. Then we also have auto draw. So if I click on auto draw right here, this is Google Auto Draw, and we're actually the only app that has it. If I was to draw, let's say I'm going to draw like a cup of coffee, I want you to just watch up here, and it's going to try guessing what I'm drawing. And there it is. It's guessing that I'm drawing coffee. Now I have a cup of coffee. And I can do my fill bucket, so forth. And I can also add emojis. So that's all under that pen tool. So I'm sure some people are going to be excited about the pen tool. Our next option right here are going to be all of these comic features, and I'll let you play around with those comic features. The first one we have are all of these different panels. So you can play around with the panels. You can do the background of the panels by just clicking on that inspector sign and changing it. In the panel, you can do two things. You can pull an image or you can take a picture. So you can do those two things. Then at the bottom, we have speech bubbles. What I love about the speech bubble is you can just type directly in it. We have thought bubbles, and then we also have all of these different stickers you can choose from. So the students can get really creative with their comics. And then the next section that you can add, and let me change this to a blank page, are shapes. What I love about the shapes, you can rotate all of these. So it's great for math. It's also great just learning about shapes. But my favorite thing about shapes, this is like a little hack. What I like doing is I like typing in some of them. Some of them you can type in, and you can leave feedback or directions for students. And if you leave it in this gray space right here, when you publish or play a book, what's going to happen is they're never going to see it when they actually play the book. So this is a great way to leave feedback for students. And then lastly, under shapes, you're going to notice there's a section that says search for anything. You can literally search for anything. This is our noun project integration. It's fantastic for vocabulary. It has over 2,000 icons and it is safe and filtered. So they can't really search for anything, but you kind of get what I'm saying. If I was to search for, let's say, a right angle, they're learning about that in math. You can see all these different icons pull up for right angles. They could search for monster if they're doing like a comic for monsters. If one of their terms is agriculture, you could type that in and they're going to have all these different icons for that. So it's really helpful. So those are all of those different features. I'm going to go back out and I'm going to show you now how to turn on collaboration for a book and how to publish a book. So at the bottom of this book right here, there are a few buttons. The middle button from this book right here, you're going to notice there's a button that says collaborate. When you turn on collaborate right here, you can have everyone in the library collaborate, and this is one of your premium features. So I highly recommend taking advantage of this. You can have everyone in the library collaborate on a book, or you can select specific students to collaborate on a book. So it's great to have these collaborative books together, just like the one that Courtney was making with her library class. Then what you also can do is you can publish your book. So if I click publish online, what I can do is give my book a title. So I'm just going to say demo. And I can publish two ways as a teacher. I can publish privately, which I'm going to get a private link, and whoever I share that private link with is going to be able to read my book. Or I can share publicly. If I share publicly, it's actually going to be searchable on a search engine like Yahoo or Google. It takes about 2 to 3 days to show up. If you wanted to do it publicly, normally you're talking about like a global audience, you wanted to share it, or you have a template that you want to share with teachers around the world. That's why you would publish this publicly. The last thing right here are allowing remixing. Remixing means that if someone was to have your book, they could download it and edit it for their own purpose. So if I had, let's say, a book that was private and this was on, that means I could share my book maybe with a colleague. They could download it and edit it for their own purpose. If this was public, I could find it on Google and then also download it and so forth. If this was off, that means I could find it on Google, but I wouldn't be able to download it. So you get the gist of it. I'm going to make this private and on to show you, and I'm going to publish this online. What you can do to the right is you can view analytics for a book. So this can be really powerful for students. They can see how many reads for a book has, how many countries it's being read in, and how many times a book has been downloaded. You can also download the map for your classroom. And then to get the link, you just press read online, and now you can read your book online. The link is right up on your browser. That's the link you're going to want to share with families. You can also share. I'm going to click read now. You can also share this to Google Classroom. You can embed on a website, or you can print your book as well. And then that remix button, if you wanted to download the book, is right there. You would just click remix. You would download it into the library of your choice. So if I wanted to click, let's say, my books, and then I would just copy it to that library. And now I've downloaded that book into my library, and I can edit that for my own use. So that's what that remix button is for. You can find some books to remix in that Discover section that I discussed for that resource tab. So if you go there, you can find books that you can remix in there. Anyways, that's, I want to save maybe a few minutes. If there were any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And then I'm going to pass it back over to the team.
Thank you, Catherine. Although this was short and sweet, it was a lot of helpful information. And I think our teachers are going to like it because it's just enough to get us, get our feet wet, get in there. At least now we know how to log in and how to create. And then, of course, creating is the most fun part. But then, then how to share. That's super important. And I know, like you said, Courtney kind of talked about publishing and whatnot earlier. All right. Are there any questions? I know there might be a little delay in what you guys are typing and what we're reading, but any questions on Book Creator? I know that you got a lot of love on the features. Of course, the audio feature we talked about earlier. Someone talked about using Flipgrid. So it looks to me, the way I responded, Catherine, they could use the audio features inside of Book Creator for that audio piece, or embed Flipgrid. They kind of have options there, right?
Yes, you can embed Flipgrid. So if you just went to that import button and then pressed embed right here.
That is so cool.
You can embed Flipgrid.
So we do have a few questions, Sarah and Catherine. A logistics question.
Yeah.
How do we put it on the kids' iPads? And Catherine, I've heard you talk about this, so I want you to answer that.
Yeah, so if you're on the iPad, you're not going to use the app. The app is offline. So you're going to want to go through Safari on the app and have them log in at app.bookcreator.com through Safari.
So
And
more of a web-based version.
yes, you're going to want to use the web-based version to have all of these premium features, to have access to what you're piloting through December. Don't use the actual app since it's offline. You're not going to have access to all this in real-time collaboration.
Perfect. And then I think you just answered our second question, which was, will we have access through December? And that is when our access is through.
Yes.
Yes. So we need to get in there and play and do and really use it because we can create a lot of books in that time, Look what Courtney did in just such a short amount of time. All right. I'm looking at the time. Misty Shea has something special to share. Misty, you want to take over or you want me to do it? Oh, there she is. She's got her slide up.
All right, everybody. We loved all of our participants just completely engaging and conversing and giving us your amazing ideas. So we have a special announcement. I'm going to use one of my favorite extensions in the whole wide world. Confetti cannon extension. If you do not have that Chrome extension, you need it because your children will love it. But our big announcement is everybody gets a prize. You get a prize, and you get a prize, and you get a prize. So if you are on here today, we have written your name down, and we will be inter-officing or dropping off. I don't know, depends on where we are in the district, but we will get you your amazing prizes. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your participation. That means so much to us, and we got some great ideas.
Yes. Thank you, Misty. I loved your confetti. Thank you for sharing that. I'll have to learn how to do that next time. Yes, we have prizes for everybody. Thanks to Catherine and her team sending us some book creator swag. I love it. You'll notice inside the water bottles and the coffee mug are some pencils and some stickers. So this is definitely worth your while to attend. Misty, if you'll go on to the next slide, I think Christy has a couple of last minute details.
All right. If you don't know about our KIC site, we definitely want to share it. It's where we as EdTech put all of our resources. It is www.kellerisd.net/KIC. And everything we build or create goes there with extra resources as well. So if you're curious about something and we're not in touch with you or it's not a great time to call or email, check out our KIC website first. We're also on KCloud. If you just search our tile EdTech, you're going to find all kinds of resources, including a link to KIC. We also write a blog once a week, and the post this week is going to be about book creator. We're also on all these social medias where we try to push out micro learning. So a quick tip that could maybe help you be more productive, could introduce you to a new EdTech tool, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and we do have our YouTube channel where we try to put our instructional videos as well. And Misty, I'll let you go on. Next month, we've got Shannon Bryant coming. So we're learning with Shannon Bryant. If you've never learned with her, she is amazing and hilarious. So we hope to see you on Wednesday, November 17th. And lastly, if you were here for EQ credit today, again, like we said earlier, we are happy to get it for you. Thank you guys again for all your participation in the chat. We so appreciated it. If you will go to this bit.ly in the next 24 hours, bit.ly/kickstart2122, and bit.lys are case sensitive. So the KIC and the S will need to be capitalized, and fill out that quick form letting us know you were here, reflecting a little bit on what you're learning. We will get your credit done in 48 hours. So by hopefully Friday. Thank you guys again for being here. We want to thank Catherine, our presenter. She came in from Book Creator for us today. So we all the way from Chicago. And so we appreciate you being here. And if we don't have anything else, Sarah? Nothing else?
Thank you, Courtney George.
Yes, thank you, Misty.
Thank you, everybody.
Courtney, thank you so much for sharing your teacher spotlight. We so appreciate that lens of the classroom or the library in our students.
Yes, we know we can do it. You taught us well. So thank you, ladies. And we look forward to seeing you on our next Kickstart.